What's up, guys? WhoNeedsMeta here. So today we're going to be taking a look at a couple cards that were errated or reruled. We're going to try and periodically do this if people ask in the comment section down below about cards and how they worked at certain points and know that the rules were changed on them, or if the card was errated or anything like that. So we're going to be looking at rerulings and erratas every so often. And the first one we're going to be looking at, we're going to take a look at Zombie Master, and then later we're going to look at Royal Oppression. So to start off with Zombie Master, when it was first released throughout until 2008, you were able to discard any zombie without a legal target in graveyard. So if your graveyard was completely empty, you could discard a zombie monster and special summon that zombie monster, even if you didn't have a legal activation requirement. And that was reruled here if we pull up our ruling timeline, May 22nd, 2008. And then we can look here at metagame.com. This is from where these kind of ruling updates and stuff were posted by Konami. Upper Deck used to do them, and I have them highlighted here. New ruling, reversal brings a scenario into the line with a ton of other rulings stating that you cannot activate Zombie Master's effect if there are no level 4 or lower zombie monsters in the graveyard, even if you would discard one to activate the effect. You can still target and special summon the monster you discarded. There just needs to be another valid target in the graveyard first. So this article came out May 25th, 2008, and it says beginning last Wednesday, which is why we're going to go with May 22nd, 2008. So if you're playing Dad Return format or a Gladiator Beast format, it's important to note that this would be a ruling that you would rule the old way and then the new way starting at this point in time. So this applies to things like Perfect Circle format and things like that, where if you play like the Ill Blood Zombies, it's important to note that you can Zombie Master without a legal target. The card that really brought that to mind, to the forefront, is a card like Lumina, where Zombie Master wasn't necessarily super broken, but Zombie Master, Lumina, just like having an archetype where you can go Lumina Garroth, that was a problem when the deck was very first released in Light of Destruction. We're talking pre-charge the Light Brigade Light Sworns. So that was an issue that they were having with that deck, and this is kind of the ruling that caused it, because if you notice Zombie Master, the original prints of this card did not have the text, this monster must be face up on the field to activate and resolve this effect. That was applied later on, but it was ruled that way as well. It was always ruled with this text, even though the TAEV First Tactical Evolution First Edition printings did not have this line of text on it. It is important to note that it was always ruled this way. But Lumina, on the other hand, was not. It doesn't have that text. So if you were to chain like Book of Moon to the effect of Lumina, Lumina obviously still resolves. So this is kind of a way to nerf that, was the reruling of Zombie Master to match Lumina and to rerule Lumina, because Lumina was ruled the same way as Zombie Master, because that would be consistent, and in order to rerule one card, you have to rerule all of them, and Zombie Master was just kind of an unfortunate victim of that reruling. Next, we're going to be looking at Royal Oppression. So a lot of GOAT format players will know this ruling, where you cannot flip Royal Oppression to stop a summon. Like, say if your opponent summons a Chaos Sorcerer, you cannot flip Royal Oppression and negate that summon. This was changed after the 2009 Nationals. So if we go over to our ruling timeline documentary, roughly around here is when the big rule overhaul for continuous traps with activated effects occurred in the TCG. Now you can activate the effect of, say, Royal Oppression at the same time in the same chain link that you activate Royal Oppression itself, and you can only do it once per chain while before it's resolved. So if you, let's say if your opponent summons Cyber Dragon and you respond with Royal Oppression, your opponent could then say chain Call the Haunted, and you can't Royal Oppression that Call of the Haunted in the same chain link unless it was face up prior. So if you preemptively flip Royal Oppression, you can use it multiple times in the same chain link. But if we go again over here to metagame.com, we have the July 5th, 2008 Royal Oppression reruling. I believe this is Shonen Jump Philadelphia, if I remember correctly. But essentially that is the reruling here for Royal Oppression. So that would be, again, the timeline. So 2008 Nationals format, you would use the old ruling of Royal Oppression, but everything after that, we would be using the modern ruling of Royal Oppression, where we are allowed to respond to a summon with it. This was obviously a big hit for the Dark Arm decks that were around, where you could Royal Oppression a Dark Armed or a Geyseris, because those, again, were the two big things you can hit. It is also important to note that this does apply to cards like Skull Lair, and if there are any others, feel free to comment them down below. But those are the two big ones. If there are any other cards that you're curious about the history of, or the errata history, or kind of how they were ruled, the big ones that come to mind for me that are very difficult to pinpoint are Mind Crush and Necro Valley. Those have been ruled very differently throughout the years. So if there are anything you want, just feel free to shoot them down below. And thanks for watching, guys.